5 strategies. I mean, it's hard to see the 5, but 5 strategies that
It says
clinical
5.
research.
That could be a 3.
Well, it's because I know the slides. Trust me, guys, that's a 5.
Okay.
So first of all, welcome everybody to the Site Owner Academy. We record these every week on the Site Owner Academy, and then we stop the recording and we stop the Instagram live so that we can share amongst ourselves as site owners. But if you have questions on Instagram, put them in the comments. We're talking about today in the Site Owner Academy, we're talking 5 strategies that clinical research sites can use to get more studies. Chris, we spent like 3 hours on the calls today talking about this, but it's not really about 5 strategies, but more about just general strategies. But these are going to be, Carlos made really good slides. So let me know in the comments what you guys think also about these 5 strategies that clinical research sites can use to get more studies. So thank you, Chris. So we can go to the next slide.
I'd like to add to your previous statement. Those 3 hours of phone calls gave me a headache. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, 3 hours of phone calls. We did so many calls I didn't have time to do my Peloton this morning, but I will do it later.
Gotta do that. Gotta do the Peloton.
That's right. So, before we get too sidetracked, hello everybody from Instagram. So, okay, every site should be looking for ways to get new studies. It's obvious, but it's amazing how often we have conversations with sites where their only tactic for getting studies is relying on former clients, former sponsors to reach out to them. First of all, there's a couple problems with that. Number one, not everybody can afford that luxury. There are new sites out there. There are newer sites that can't rely on that luxury. So that strategy is not really helpful. And also, you're missing out on a lot of opportunities because if you're only dealing with the sponsors that know you, maybe that's like 2% of the market. You're still missing out on 98% of the market. Or I don't know what the numbers are, but you're missing out on the majority of the market, right?
Only that, but you're very much limiting yourself to future trials. If those 2% of sponsors or CROs if they run out of pipeline for their studies, that means you have none.
Right. Exactly right. So every site should be looking for ways to get new studies. There are many paid services that offer sites access to future studies. We have one. We charge a monthly fee. There's brokers out there. I don't like brokers. Brokers make you broker. That's one thing I told 2 clients today. But there are some good ones, but most of them are not. And there are also 5 highly effective and free strategies. That's the best part of this is free. Okay. 5 free strategies that every site should take advantage of to get more studies. So let's see what those are.
Well, hang on. Before we move along, I do have to say that was very funny. That's the first time you said that. Brokers make you broker. I cracked up. So did the couple different phone calls that we're talking to. They laughed too.
Well, I can't take credit. I got that from Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
But to be fair, I think there are a few good brokers out there. They're just few and far between. My opinion. Right? They're not all bad, but it's tough to find a good one.
They're not all bad, exactly right.
All right, on we go.
I'm actually there's 5 free and highly effective strategies. I can't wait to. Can you please move the slide? Okay, there we go. I can't wait to see what these are. So, become a preferred site. Chris, you always talk about preferred sites to clients. How does one become a preferred site to a sponsor?
Well, this does not work for any new sites. You're not going to be a preferred site if you're new to the business. You have to establish a rapport, a relationship, a good chemistry with the sponsor. And the way you do this is by working on previous trials with them and demonstrating that you can both provide quality data as well as numbers in terms of recruitment. those are the two primary aspects in which you become a preferred site. So until you develop that with a sponsor, and obviously you have to do this by working with them, you will not be a preferred site. But once you are a preferred site, they come to you with almost any trial they even think you're remotely capable of doing. We've been the site that Dan and I own, we've been preferred sites before for
Right.
sponsors. And they come to us with studies we can't do. I mean, just can't do. Hey, do you want this study? We'll give it to you. I mean, it's essentially the dialogue. And it's like, yeah, we can't get patients for that study. That's just not going to work for us. And they'll ask, are you sure? It's like, yeah, we can't get patients for that study. We don't want it. So they will actually push studies on you if you're a preferred site of their preferred vendor for them. So yeah, it's definitely great. But again, if you're new to the business, this isn't going to happen for you.
Right. But that's one way, and it's free for those sites that are more experienced and have worked with sponsors. And you can actually ask them, like if you just did a really good job with a sponsor, you can ask them, hey, am I a preferred site? Are we considered a preferred site for you guys? Maybe they have a formal process you have to go through, and some don't, right? Some will just put you on a list. Others will have a more formal process, like they'll have to audit you, and all that stuff. So once you pass the audit, then you're good to go. So there's, just ask. It doesn't hurt to ask.
That's true of everything. I mean, ask your CREs all the time if there's any other studies that are recruiting sites for that your site might be interested in. That might be one of the 5, but we'll find out.
Yeah, I don't even know what the 5 are. Let's see. I can't wait. What's
All
the
right,
second
next slide.
one? Yeah. Scientific liaisons. One of my favorites. So this is going to be helpful for the sites that have like a hybrid site. So a site that is affiliated with or directly inside of a private practice. Okay, so, most doctors' offices, private practice, they'll have sales reps come through the office and they'll bring sandwiches. I think right now during COVID, they're visiting with masks and they're still bringing lunch. So even during this pandemic, they're still doing this, okay? But these sales reps are great. It's free lunch for the staff. Basically, the drug companies are sending these sales reps out so that they can encourage the doctor to prescribe more. But basically, what you want to do is you want to reach out. If you're doing research, you want to talk to your sales reps that come into your office and tell them, hey, introduce me please to your scientific liaison. Okay? And these are the people, they're like the bridge between sales and R&D at drug companies. And usually every region, every territory has one. They're usually a pharmacist. Okay, these are also the same people who could make your physician and your PI a key opinion leader, at least for their particular drug or their company. So you want to reach out to these scientific liaisons and tell them that you do research and that you would like to participate in more research studies with their drug company. It's a long process because they're not going to come the next day and visit your site. They're going to send somebody out. Sometimes the scientific liaison themselves will come out, tour your site, and then if they like you and they like your site and they think they have a study that might match, they're going to put you on a list. Now that study may not start for a year, or the study may start in like a month. It just depends. It depends on timing. You have no control over that timing, but you do have control over doing this. And it's amazing how many sites don't actually do this. This is hidden opportunities in your site indirectly through your sales reps that come in regularly and they actually want to be a help to you, right? Because they want the doctor to like them. So that's that. What do you think about this, Chris? You've met with many sales reps in your day.
Oh yeah, and scientific liaisons as well. Yeah, I mean, I don't really have much to add. They're definitely a resource for bringing studies to your site. Matter of fact, this is definitely a route in which a research naive site can venture into to bring studies to their site. Unlike the previous example, I'm sure if you're seeing patients in clinic, most likely have drug reps coming to your site. Just hit them up to connect you with. Well, as a matter of fact, you don't even need to ask them about the scientific liaison. You just ask them if they can help bring a study to your site, and if not, then they put you in touch with the scientific liaison or somebody else that could be of help in that regard. And if you have a good relationship with that drug rep, they're going to go out of their way to help you.
That's right. So you guys need to be doing this, Rod, especially you guys with active sites. And if your site is not inside a private practice, let's say your PI has a private practice, but it's separate, it's not physically in the same location as the research site. Well, you, as the site owner, need to find out from the receptionist of that private practice when the sales reps are scheduled to come in, and you need to make yourself available. You need to go to that doctor's office and tell them, hey, I'm going to come because I want to meet the sales reps because I want to talk to their scientific liaison. So if your site is not, if the private practice is not on site, you need to go to them. All right, that's the strategy for those sites. Next slide, because these are 2 out of 5. So let's see. Search for key figures. Okay, so you can look through clinicaltrials.gov for people who may have information about ongoing or upcoming studies for your site. You can use things like ZymeWire, where you pay for it. Okay, so everything's free. Clinicaltrials.gov is free. If you want to navigate it easier, you can use this thing called ZymeWire. You have to pay for that. But it can connect you to decision makers within CRO and sponsor organizations.
So, Dan, you used to have a term for this. What did you use to call doing this?
Dialing for dollars.
Yes.
But now it's in the digital age,
Sure. But it still kind of applies. So it's a lot of work with little success. You will have a success here and there, but it's a lot of work for limited success, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's much more failure than success. But if you don't have many studies right now,
or you're research naive,
you don't really have an excuse because you have clinicaltrials.gov, and you could literally sit all day and send 100 emails a day on clinicaltrials.gov. And if you do that every day for a month, you will get a study. There's just no way that won't happen. Okay. The problem is most people don't do 100 a day. They do like 2 a day for a week, and then they give up because they say nobody's replying back. Well, guess what? From those 100 you send a day, almost none of them are going to reply back. Right?
Yep.
You just got to keep doing it. So, and then also, I would say, so if we're talking about searching for key figures, all right, LinkedIn. LinkedIn is another free way to do it, right? Everybody can get a LinkedIn account. You can you can search for the same people you find on clinicaltrials.gov when they have decision makers, like sometimes they'll have their names. You can actually go on LinkedIn and find these people, network with them there. Or sometimes they don't have the names. Well, you can look up clinical trial director for AbbVie on LinkedIn, or whatever city that person is in. Okay, you can actually find this information, find these people on LinkedIn. It's never been easier than in 2020. All right, the technology is the same as it was in 2015, but I would say it's even easier because most people are still working from home now. And so people are on LinkedIn more. I mean, this is proven. People are online more now. So that's a really good way to go about it. Again, it takes time, but just like anything else, it takes time to get in shape too, right? It's not complicated. It's easy, but it's simple but not easy.
No, it's simple and easy. It just doesn't produce quickly.
Right.
Like losing weight, right? It's simple and easy. Cut calories, exercise, but it takes a lot of time.
That's right.
To see results.
It takes discipline and it takes consistency, day in and day out.
Yep.
I want to ask you about your platonic Don't know what that is, but oh, Peloton. My Peloton. So somebody's asking, Rod is asking on Instagram about my Peloton. The Peloton's awesome, Rod. If you want a referral code, I will get you one. You get $100 off. It's amazing. All right. And Chris and I just bought some Peloton stock today. Next slide. And I'll put it in my stories. I try to put it in my stories when I'm on Peloton. I don't want to do it every day because I'm on Peloton every day. I don't want to put it every day on my story. But, if it's a good workout, I'm feeling it, I'll share it to my story. Okay, number 4. Mine your contacts. This is, again, very important. Everybody has a sphere of influence. Everybody. All right? And this is kind of related to the sales rep thing. Like if you're a doctor, if you take me right now, Chris, to a doctor's private practice, let's say this doctor has no research experience, okay? But this doctor does private practice. He's got a huge practice, okay? Or let's make it a she. She's got a huge practice, alright? Lots of sales reps coming through, but no research experience. If all you do as a site owner is talk to each of those sales reps on a regular basis, ask to introduce to the scientific liaison, eventually you will get a study. Even if that's all you do, you can ignore all these other things.
Sure.
Right?
I mean, I would take it a step further. I would ask that CRA, hey, or not CRA, sorry, pharmacy rep, do they know any studies that I could do? I'm interested in research. Just have a conversation. And then, can you connect me with everybody in your sphere of influence that might know of studies and such? I mean, you could go full on, right? It doesn't have to be just scientific liaisons. It could be anybody and everybody in your network, right? That works for your company, your pharmacy company, pharmaceutical company.
100%. Yeah, exactly. Absolutely agree. Now, there's other contexts too. Like, let's say you have done studies in the past. Well, you have current CRAs, like you discussed, Chris. You always ask the CRA, hey, because remember, these CRAs, they come to your site with blinders on, okay? Like,
Yep.
they just want to get their report done. They're not looking at anything else. They're just like tunnel vision, right?
Yep.
But
Yep.
you want to take these blinders off and say, hey, CRA, we love what you're doing, but we're a business and we need more studies. Do you know of any more studies? Sometimes they could recommend you as a site, or other times they could say, no, I don't have any, but here's my lead, here's my project manager. He's in charge of all this stuff. And so just do that. Do more of that.
Yep.
Another way is to network with people on LinkedIn or social media like Instagram, right? Network with the people in the comments here. I mean, we've had 9 people so far, 10 people. Many more are going to watch the replay. So whoever left a comment, hit them up. Say, hey, can we share study leads? You're a site in Indiana. I'm a site in LA. Let's share studies. You're a site in Florida. I'm a site in El Centro, California. Let's share study leads. This is a way to do it. You can do it on Instagram. You can do it on LinkedIn. You can do it on Facebook. There's groups on Facebook. There's a big one called Clinical Research Memes that I got kicked out of a few times, but I'm back in. Somehow I'm back in. I'm back in business, and I'm starting watch parties. So yeah, let's see if they ban me. But basically, network with
What'd you
people.
get kicked out for?
What's that?
What'd you get banned or kicked out for?
Sharing too many videos. I don't know. Like,
Weird. Okay.
I don't understand how that's possible. It's not spam. It's interviews. So now what I've done is started watch parties on Facebook. You could start a watch party with a group. So I think I'm okay now. I think it's I don't know. It works.
More acceptable.
Yeah, but this is not about me, guys. This is about you guys. Okay, so you go on Facebook, go on these groups, network with people, go on LinkedIn, network with them. Twitter, even Twitter has a huge clinical research community. You just search for hashtags and start talking to people. You can talk to the director of research at Pfizer on Twitter, or the former director of research at Pfizer, Craig Lipset. This is what I did in 2010. And I had Craig Lipset on my show a bunch of times, but that was from Twitter. These people are accessible on Twitter. Maybe they're getting hundreds of emails a day, but only a few tweets a day. So, you got to think about, how to do things differently. All right. So that's one thing, minding your contacts and networking. And the second bullet point, it is better to connect with CRO and sponsor personnel through social platforms because some will change companies throughout their career. Exactly right. So if your CRA comes to your site and you like her, don't assume that, okay, I have her email now, so we're good, and I have her cell phone number, so we're okay. Because guess what? The turnover is really high for CRAs, and those business cards they give you with their email address and their phone number are corporate number and a corporate email. So when they go to another company, let's say they go from IQVIA to Covance, guess what? Her email and her phone number don't work anymore, so it's like you don't know her. Right? It's like you never knew her. Unless you connect with them on LinkedIn. These days, most people have a LinkedIn. If you really get along with them, ask them what's their Facebook or Instagram, right? Because
Or
everybody has
personal email.
LinkedIn, but not everyone is active. Or like Chris said, yeah, personal email. Hey, what's your personal email? Although that's a little more weird to ask. Like it's more acceptable, I think, to ask what's your LinkedIn or your Instagram.
Well,
Because people don't really question why you're asking for that. But when you ask for personal email, they're kind of weirded out.
so not to go off on a tangent here, but I'm going to. A lot of these CREs are very lonely. They spend a lot of time in the air and at sites, and they don't really have much human interaction.
Yeah,
A lot of them get very talkative, so you become very friendly with some of these CRAs,
right.
and it's not as odd as Dan's making it out as far as getting more personal information. Um, I've had CRAs share pictures of their newborn babies with me through their personal email. So, um,
Okay.
yeah, it depends on your relationship, of course. Somebody you barely know, yes, it'd be odd to ask for their personal email.
But less odd for like their LinkedIn, right?
Right. Yes, definitely. Definitely. All right.
No, I
Next slide.
agree. Next slide. I guess it's I lost track, but maybe this is the fifth one. Conferences. Okay. So virtual or physical, because now we're living in the age of COVID. All right. So virtual or physical, conferences are a great way to get to know people that can get you more studies. You can let them know about some of the studies that your site has participated in. Virtual conferences may be the new normal during the COVID-19 pandemic. They can still connect you to other research professionals. Look, we have our own virtual conference. We have every month, I don't know if you guys know this, you have to subscribe to the blog. This is why, guys, I'm going to just go off track here, on a tangent, Chris. This
Okay.
is why you guys on Instagram, and I'm going to eventually put this on YouTube, you complain when you miss a webinar or a monthly Guru Nation hangout. Well, there's no way for me to blast it on these platforms. The algorithm may not show, that I'm having a meetup. You have to subscribe to the email list. It's theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Hello, Ashley. How's it going? Theclinicaltrialsguru.com. You have to subscribe. You get notified. There's tons of these virtual meetups. It's not just mine. Of course, I'm going to push mine, but there's others. You can join a virtual conference every week if you wanted to. All right. And then when physical conferences come back, which they probably will in the summer of next year, start going to those. Be strategic because those are costly. The virtual conferences are free, right? So you don't need to be as strategic. But you network with these people, and then everybody that you meet at these conferences, like mine, the Guru Nation one, is very laid back. People talk to each other. People are on the last one. We're sharing emails with each other. And guess what? These are now sites that are going to share studies with one another. I mean, it's just, we're all in this together. Even if you are in the same city, you can still collaborate, right? Like, there's plenty of studies out there. It's not a zero-sum game, especially with virtual trials, right? There's more studies out there than we actually have sites that are willing and qualified to participate in. So, and then Rod saying the clinical trials experts on Facebook. I don't even know that one. I'm gonna have to join that one and maybe work on getting kicked out of that one too. Okay, but I'm gonna join that one. One of the biggest mistakes we made, Chris, we did a lot of things right with marketing, but one of the biggest mistakes we made was not have a Facebook group. Okay, we created pages, but we never created a group, and the groups are where the action is, but I'm not going to do
Yep.
that right now. It's just, we're too late to that. Too
All right.
late to that game. It's better to go into other people's groups. But I'm like you guys. I'm going in other groups, networking with people, networking with other sites, LinkedIn, Instagram. There's a lot on social media that you can do. But conferences, just know conferences are great. Right now there's a lot of virtual conferences. By 2021 there's going to be physical conferences again. And I think that was the last strategy. Last of the fifth
It is.
strategy.